In the heart of the vast, untamed wilderness of the Congo, where the emerald canopy stretched endlessly and rivers whispered ancient secrets, there once stood a kingdom known as Nyama. It was a land so prosperous that even the gods cast envious glances upon it. Gold veins ran beneath its hills, and its rivers shimmered like the eyes of the moon. Trees bore fruits so sweet that even birds abandoned their migrations to feast within its borders. At the heart of this paradise stood the grand city of Nyama, ruled by King Zuberi, a man of both wisdom and pride. For generations, his ancestors had upheld the sacred covenant with the spirits who watched over the land, offering prayers and sacrifices to honor their unseen guardians. But as the years passed, greed seeped into the hearts of Nyama's rulers. The offerings dwindled, and the temples fell into ruin. The elders warned of a prophecy, one that had been passed down for centuries. When the gods are forsaken, and the land no longer sings their praises, the rivers shall run dry, the forests shall wither, and Nyama shall be swallowed by darkness. King Zuberi laughed at the warnings, his hands heavy with gold. He ordered his people to work harder, dig deeper into the earth, and expand the city's borders. The kingdom became wealthier than ever, until the day the curse took hold. It began with a terrible storm, a wrathful tempest that lasted for 7 days and 7 nights. The skies roared, the earth trembled, and when dawn finally broke, Nyama was no longer the same. The once bountiful rivers had turned black, the trees bore no fruit, and an eerie silence hung over the land. Famine swept through the city, and disease followed in its wake. The once proud kingdom crumbled, its people abandoning their homes, fleeing into the wild, whispering of a darkness that now ruled Nyama. For centuries, the ruins of Nyama remained untouched, a cursed relic swallowed by the jungle. Far beyond the fallen kingdom, in a small village where hunters and farmers lived simple lives, a boy was born under a blood moon. His mother, Nia, named him Kwame, meaning born on a Saturday. From the moment he could walk, Kwame was different. His eyes were like deep pools, reflecting knowledge far beyond his years. The village elders often watched him in silence, nodding among themselves, as if they saw something within him that others could not. Nia often spoke of Nyama's lost glory, her voice heavy with sorrow. The spirits still watch Kwame, she would whisper at night, holding him close. They wait for one who is worthy to restore what was lost. Kwame never understood why these stories weighed so heavily on his mother. But when she fell ill, her final words to him were a plea. Go to the ruins of Nyama, find the truth, break the curse. With nothing left to lose, Kwame took up his father's old spear, slung a satchel of provisions over his back, and set out into the wilderness, determined to uncover the forgotten past of Nyama. The journey was treacherous. The jungle was alive, not just with creatures of flesh and bone, but with spirits unseen. The trees whispered secrets that only the wind could understand, and the shadows moved in ways they should not have. One evening, as Kwame rested beside a river, an old woman appeared before him, stepping out from the mist as if she had been waiting all along. She was hunched, her skin wrinkled like the bark of an ancient tree, and her eyes burned with an eerie light. You seek the fallen kingdom, she rasped, but do you know what you truly seek? I seek to break the curse, Kwame answered without hesitation. The woman's laugh was dry, like the rustling of dead leaves. Then you must pass 3 trials, fail, and you will never return. Kwame felt a chill race down his spine, but he nodded. He had come too far to turn back. With a wave of her gnarled hand, the old woman gestured toward the darkness of the jungle. Your path begins at the River of Souls. Walk with courage or be swallowed by the past. And just like that, she vanished into the mist, leaving only the echoes of her laughter. Kwame gripped his spear and pressed forward, knowing that whatever lay ahead was far more dangerous than he had ever imagined. The jungle grew denser, the air thick with whispers that did not belong to the living. Then, at last, he came upon it. The River of Souls. It stretched endlessly, its waters black as night, swirling with an unnatural energy. A bridge of bones arched across it, and as Kwame approached, the air grew cold. A voice rose from the depths, whispering like the wind through the trees. Cross if you dare, but know that the spirits of the lost will test your heart. Kwame swallowed hard and took his first step onto the bridge. Instantly, hands erupted from the waters, clawing at his ankles. Shadows twisted and took form, faces of those long gone, their eyes filled with sorrow and regret. You will fail, they whispered. You will fall like the others before you. Among them, he saw his mother's face, her eyes filled with grief. "You cannot save me, Kwame," she said, her voice hollow. "You are too late." Tears stung his eyes, but he clenched his jaw. He knew the spirits were feeding on his doubts, testing his resolve. "I may not change the past," he whispered, gripping his spear tighter, "but I will change the future." At those words, the whispers faded, the hands withdrew, and the bridge of bones solidified beneath his feet. With newfound strength, Kwame took his final step onto the other side. The first trial had been conquered, but greater dangers lay ahead. Chapter 2: The Trials of the Spirits. The air on the other side of the River of Souls was different. It was heavier, thick with an energy that pressed against Kwame's skin like unseen hands. Though the jungle remained vast and wild, the trees stood unnaturally still, their leaves refusing to sway even as a cold wind howled through them. Kwame took a moment to steady his breath. The first trial had tested his heart, forcing him to confront his grief and doubt. But he knew this was just the beginning. Somewhere ahead, the second trial awaited, and with it, new dangers. A sudden rustling in the undergrowth made him snap to attention. He gripped his spear, his pulse quickening. The jungle had been eerily silent since he crossed the river. So what was moving now? Then, without warning, a blur of darkness leapt at him from the shadows. Kwame barely had time to react. He rolled to the side, raising his spear just in time to block a set of razor-sharp claws that slashed toward his chest. The creature landed with a low, guttural growl, its massive form now fully visible in the dim light. It was like no beast Kwame had ever seen before. Its body was a shifting mass of black mist, its eyes glowing an unnatural yellow. It had the shape of a great panther, yet its body flickered like a flame, never fully solid, never fully there. Then the old woman's voice echoed in his mind. "The second trial is that of greed. You must face the beast that devoured Nyama." Kwame's grip on his spear tightened. He understood now. This creature was no ordinary animal. It was the embodiment of greed, the very force that had doomed Nyama centuries ago. The beast prowled in a slow circle around him, its yellow eyes locked onto his. It didn't attack right away. Instead, it spoke, its voice a chilling whisper that slithered into his mind. "Why do you fight me, child?" the beast purred. "I can give you everything you desire." A strange warmth filled Kwame's chest. Suddenly, visions danced before his eyes, visions of power, wealth, and glory. He saw himself seated upon a golden throne, his people bowing before him. He saw riches beyond his wildest dreams, mountains of gold, warriors chanting his name. All he had to do was surrender. Kwame's grip on his spear loosened for just a moment. The temptation was intoxicating, like the scent of sweet fruit on a starving man's tongue. But then he remembered. He remembered his mother's final words. He remembered the faces of the lost in the River of Souls. He remembered that Nyama had fallen because of greed. This creature was offering him the same fate. Kwame shut his eyes and took a deep breath. When he opened them again, his vision cleared. The golden throne vanished. The false promises faded into the mist, and the only thing before him was the beast waiting for him to give in. "I do not seek wealth or power," Kwame said firmly. "I seek only to restore balance." The beast snarled, baring its jagged teeth. Then it lunged. Kwame didn't hesitate. This time he met the creature head-on, driving his spear straight into its chest. But instead of piercing flesh, the weapon sank into nothingness, swallowed by the dark mist of the creature's body. The beast laughed, its voice echoing like distant thunder. "You cannot harm me, boy. I am the hunger that never ends." Kwame's mind raced. He couldn't fight this creature with strength alone. He had to outthink it. Then he realized something. This beast thrived on desire. It had no form of its own, only the shadows of the greed it fed upon. What if he denied it that? Kwame took a deep breath and lowered his spear. He stepped back, loosening his stance. The beast hesitated. "What are you doing?" "I'm not afraid of you," Kwame said calmly, "and I do not want what you offer." The moment the words left his mouth, the beast let out a terrible howl of agony. Its form began to flicker, its body unraveling like smoke caught in the wind. It thrashed, clawing at the ground, but it was no use. Kwame had stripped it of its power. With one final ear-splitting shriek, the creature vanished, its misty form dissolving into the air. Silence fell. Kwame let out a slow breath, his body shaking. The second trial was over, but he knew the hardest one was yet to come.